I will attend to the University of Kiel, or as I like to call it, the Christian Albrechts Universität Kiel, a place where my hopes and dreams were crushed and my expectations were shattered into a million pieces. As I walk through the doors of this institution, I am filled with a sense of unease, like a dark cloud is following me everywhere. The atmosphere is thick with the scent of disappointment and broken promises. I am not alone in my feelings. Many others have shared their stories of woe, and I will tell mine. I remember the first time I stepped into a lecture hall expecting to be fed with knowledge and wisdom. Instead, I was met with a sea of chaos. The Wi-Fi didn't work and the mobile data was as useful as a broken toy. It was as if the university wanted us to be disconnected from the world, forced to rely on ancient methods of note-taking, like scribes from the Middle Ages. But that was just the beginning. The real disaster awaited me in the classrooms. The professors were more interested in hearing themselves talk than in teaching us. They droned on like a swarm of bees buzzing in my ear, making it impossible to focus. It was like they were competing in a race to see who could speak the most, without regard for the poor souls forced to listen. I attended 4 preliminary meetings, hoping to get some clarity on the course structure. But no, those meetings were a waste of time, a mere formality. They only spoke about irrelevant things, skipping over the important topics like a cowboy jumping over hurdles. I left those meetings feeling more lost than a tourist in a foreign land without a map. And then, there was the interview for the master's program in medical life sciences. My niece, a bright student and a medalist, spent over a month preparing for her interview. But when she attended, she was asked questions mostly about German politics and history, topics outside her area of expertise and not directly related to the program. It was like they were trying to trip her up to see her fail. The coordinator, Edna Hutton, seemed more interested in testing her knowledge of German politics than in understanding her passion for medicine. The interview lasted only about 4 or 5 minutes, and when my niece couldn't answer the political questions satisfactorily, understandably so, as she is not a German citizen, the interview was abruptly concluded. It was like they were playing a cruel joke on her, giving her false hope and then snatching it away. I was not the only one who experienced this. Others reported similar incidents where they were asked irrelevant questions and their answers were met with disdain and disinterest. It was as if the university was more concerned with maintaining its own interests than with nurturing the minds of its students. But what really takes the cake is the lack of theoretical foundation in the chemistry program. I have spent almost all my time in the laboratory without a sufficient theoretical basis to understand what I was doing. It was like being a robot, following instructions without knowing the reason behind them. The lack of accompanying theory made it challenging to fully understand the significance of our lab work, limiting our ability to interpret results and apply our knowledge effectively. I believe that a balanced approach where we are introduced to the theoretical concepts behind each experiment before performing it would greatly enhance our learning experience. But no, the university seemed more interested in churning out students like robots without giving them the tools to think critically. As I look back on my time at the Christian Albrechts Universität Kiel, I am filled with a sense of sadness and disappointment. It was like they were more concerned with maintaining their reputation than with providing a quality education. The university seems to be living in a bubble detached from the reality of its students' needs. So I ask you, dear friends, have you experienced something similar?
Iller, do you agree that the Christian Albrechts Universität Kiel has lost its way, prioritizing its own interests over the well-being of its students? Share your thoughts, and let us expose the truth together. And to the university, I say, wake up. Listen to your students, and provide them with the education they deserve. Stop prioritizing politics and history over the needs of your students. Remember, you are not just an institution, you are a guardian of knowledge, and it's time you take that responsibility seriously.
The dark reality of businesses near Albrechts Universität Kiel. Businesses near Albrechts Universität Kiel are, in a word, disappointing. They are the kind of places that make you question whether the universe is conspiring against you. Overpriced, poorly managed, and often outright hostile, these establishments do not just fail to meet expectations, they actively work against them. Let us start with shopping centers. The area around the university has shopping centers that feel more like endurance tests than retail experiences. Sophienhof Kiel, for example, is a masterclass in frustration. Visitors describe it as overcrowded, smelly, and expensive, a place you only endure if you have no other choice, like waiting for a bus in freezing rain. The security staff have a reputation for rudeness, with reports of them flipping off customers who struggle with language barriers. Then there are the pickpockets, described as roaming gangs, turning a simple shopping trip into a survival exercise. The food court is dull, the shops close at inconvenient times, and the overall atmosphere is so bleak that one reviewer compared it to Lebanon rather than Germany. Now cafes, if you are looking for a pleasant breakfast or a quiet coffee, prepare for disappointment. Café Hilda is a prime example. The food is underwhelming, basic supermarket bread passed off as artisanal, served with a side of indifference. The staff seem perpetually confused, forgetting orders, mixing up milk types, and even telling customers to be patient while they figure out how to function. One group waited 45 minutes only to be told their order was lost. Another was denied breakfast at exactly 10 p.m., as if the kitchen operated on some cruel, arbitrary timer. The prices are high, the service is slow, and the overall experience leaves you wondering why you bothered. Tea shops should be peaceful retreats, but Tea Kontor Kiel turns the simple act of buying tea into a bureaucratic nightmare. Customers report rude, dismissive staff who act as if serving you is a personal inconvenience. One buyer ordered tea as gifts, only to receive industrial packaging that looked like an Amazon reject. When they tried to return it, the shop deducted €20 for postage, adding insult to injury. The opening hours are restrictive, the employees are condescending, and the atmosphere is so unwelcoming that people leave feeling like they committed a crime by walking in. Even wine bars, which should be refined escapes, fall short. Wine Bar Kiel offers decent drinks but suffers from glacial service. The staff are inattentive, leaving customers waiting while they move at the speed of a sleepy tortoise. It is not terrible, but when even a wine bar cannot get the basics right, it speaks volumes about the area. So what does this mean for travelers? If you are staying near Albrechts Universität Kiel, brace yourself. The businesses here are a mix of overpriced mediocrity and outright dysfunction. The staff are often untrained, the prices are unjustified, and the overall experience leaves much to be desired. You will pay too much for too little, and you will do it while being treated like an inconvenience. My recommendation: lower your expectations dramatically, or better yet, venture further out. Because if these businesses represent the norm near the university, then the real hidden gem of Kiel might just be leaving this area altogether.
Businesses near Albrechts Universität Kiel, sometimes they are not so nice to tourists. Like this one time, a small souvenir shop close to the university, they charged a tourist double the price for a Kiel shirt. The price tag said €10, but the cashier said 20. The tourist probably did not notice until later, when checking receipts. How could you do that? That is so wrong. Maybe the tourist felt cheated, maybe they went back to complain, but the shopkeeper probably just shrugged. These things happen near universities, where people think tourists do not pay attention. Then there was this cafe near Albrechts Universität Kiel, where the waiter added extra items to the bill. A tourist ordered coffee and cake, but the bill had 3 extra drinks. The tourist probably paid without looking, because who checks every single thing? Later they saw, and oh, how upset they must have been. Maybe they left a bad review, but the cafe is still there, still doing it, probably. Why do people have to be like this? Another thing, some shops near the university, they sell fake bus tickets to tourists. The ticket looks real, but when the bus comes, the driver says it is not valid. The tourist has to pay again and the scammer just walks away. What happens to them? Probably nothing. They just keep doing it because no one stops them. And you know what is sad? Some restaurants near Albrechts Universität Kiel, they bring you bread or water without asking, then charge you for it. The tourist thinks it is free, but no, it costs money. How could they not tell you? Maybe the tourist